We're starting with parallel lines through point P today. Okay. So you can see there's a line L and a point P. So remember on the right side, this is where we write in the directions so that later when you want to reference and like review with yourself how to do this, that those steps are just there for you. Okay. So the very first direction, draw a transversal through point P that intersects line L. Okay. So you're going to get your trusty straight edge. Again, I use Post-its. You can use the edge of a notebook. You can use another sheet of paper. If you have your yellow sheet, you can use that. Anything that will allow you to draw a straight line. Okay. So just draw a transversal through point P that intersects line L. Just like that.
It'd be like literally any line.
Yep. Any old line you want. Okay. Good? All right. Then it says copy the angle that is made by line L and the transversal. We'll call this angle A. So I'm going to put a little A here. Okay. So that's angle A. So then to point P. So we're going to copy this angle here. So if you remember, we did copy an angle before. Don't worry, I'll go through those steps again, okay, to show you how to do that. All right. So if you go back, this is where we did copy an angle. Okay, so notice we start by drawing a ray. Well, we already have a starting point, right? So we can go ahead and start like with this ray right here, and then this would be like our starting point for that ray. All right. So I'm actually going to turn this on its side. Okay. Just to make that angle look a little bit better. Okay. So we start by putting the pin in A. You can open the pencil as much as you'd like. I suggest not opening it too much. Otherwise it gets to be too big and it's hard to fit everything. Okay. So you start by just making an arc. It doesn't matter the size of the arc. Okay, then you're not going to change the compass. You're not going to move it any wider or any narrower. And you're going to come up and put the pin on point P. You're going to draw that exact same arc. Now, if you look at mine like, ooh, I need to extend my angle or my transversal line because it doesn't quite intersect. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because I want it to intersect because I'm going to need that. Yeah, just so that I have that point of intersection there. Okay. So far, so good. Then I'm going to take my compass. I'm going to put the pin right here. And I'm going to open up the pencil to where that arc intersected line L. So I can see what that distance is. Then I'm going to move up here. And I'm going to make a little mark in that same distance. Okay, so again, I took this distance, right? And then I moved up here. I just transferred up here and I made an arc right here. Okay. And then right at that point of intersection is what I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to call that point B. The last step is to connect point P and point B. So again, with your straight edge, you can actually go beyond. Oops. Erase that double line there. Move my paper. Okay. So what we essentially did was we created parallel lines by recreating the corresponding angles, right? So that's what we did. So now we know that like this line here and this line here are parallel because we use those corresponding angles to create those parallel lines. Okay. All right, let's move on to this next one. Special right triangle being a 30, 60, 90. All right. It says use a compass and straight edge to construct a 30, 60, 90 triangle with the short leg equal to CD. So here's CD right here. So that's going to be like our unit, right? That's going to be the short leg. Okay. So first thing, draw a line segment. That should be easy enough. So just use your straight edge, draw a line segment. I would draw it a little bit lower, just so you have some room above that to work. So I'm just going to do that. Okay. I would say mid to lower part of your paper. Should be good. Okay. Step 2, construct a perpendicular bisector. This is another one that we did before. So I will review those steps with you. We did this one previous. Okay, so perpendicular bisector. It doesn't matter which side you start with, but you want to put your pin on one of your points, your pencil on another one of your points. Okay. Then you're going to draw a semicircle arc. Like so. Okay. Then you're going to flip your compass and do the exact same thing going the other way. So I always like to double check my width just to make sure I didn't bump my compass or move it somehow by mistake. Okay. Then you're going to make a semicircle arc going the other way. And you want to make them big enough so that the arcs intersect above and below your line. Okay. And this should look familiar because this is one of the ones that we did before. That is not long enough. Okay. Then you got to connect those 2 points of intersection to make your perpendicular line. Just like that. Okay, so we have our right angle. That's the 90, right? We're making a 30, 60, 90. We just made the 90. Okay, so just really quickly, let's just review what a 30, 60, 90 is. Okay. I know you know this, but it's always good to just review. So we have a 30, 60, 90. CD, that's the shorter leg. So that's where the 1 is, right? In our 30, 60, 90, the hypotenuse is 2. And then the longer leg, that's where the square root 3 comes in. So that's that proportional relationship there that we see in those 30, 60, 90s. Okay. So we want one side that's 1. We want one side that's 2. And we want one side that is the square root of 3. Okay. We need to use CD as our unit, right? So open up your compass so that it's the length of 1 unit. Okay, I have no idea what this measures. I just know it's whatever unit I'm supposed to use. Okay. So I'm going to start by marking that unit on my, I'm going to come down here, put the pin on the 90. Then I'm going to mark out that length on one of your sides. Now, do you think it matters if you mark it on this one or this one? No, it doesn't matter. I just put it there. Last time I did this, I marked it here. It doesn't matter. Okay. So that's what we just did. I keep forgetting to fill this in. So copy length CD. So one end is on the 90, just like what we did. So this is one length right here. Okay. Now, this next part, now we have to get, so that was 1 unit. Now we need to get it to be 2 units length, right? Okay, so extend the compass so that it is twice as long. What? Okay, so how do we do that? Well, I know that this is 1 length of CD, right? What if I keep my pin right there and I come over here? Now, from this arc to D, that's 2 of CD, right? Right? That's 2 times that length. So I want to open my compass to be that much. There's twice the length. Okay. Now, before you start marking stuff on your drawing, look at our triangle. What needs to be twice the length? Well, the hypotenuse, right? So instead of going from the 90, I'm going to go from here and I'm going to mark, because this should be my hypotenuse, right? So I want to mark where my hypotenuse is going to cross up here. Okay, so this is where it should cross up here. Okay, so just to fill in our steps, set the compass to twice the length of CD. Got it. Put the metal tip of the compass on point D. That's what this is right here. This is point D. Okay, and draw an arc that intersects the perpendicular bisector. That's what we did here. And it looks like they're calling that point A. Now it says connect D and A. Okay, so this is 1 unit. This was 2 units. So then, if we did Pythagorean theorem, that should be square root 3 units, which is a bit over 1 unit, right? Yeah.
So when we do this for real, are we gonna have to like erase all our extra stuff?
Nope, you can leave it just like this. In fact, I don't want you to erase your extra stuff because I want to see that you actually did it. Right? All good on this one?
I got to the 90-degree angle.
Okay, so then you have to use this to make your sides.
How do I do that? Extend my line.
We're going to do a 45, 45, 90 next, which is similar. So you should be able to catch up with the steps for that one.
All right.
Deal?
All right.
Okay. Next.
Don't worry, Kyle.
Now these next two are actually exactly the same thing because we have a 45, 45, 90, and then we have an isosceles right triangle. Those are exactly the same thing, aren't they? So we get to practice this 2 more times. Okay? Then you can practice on your own. All right. Ready. Notice the first step. Same thing. Draw a line segment. Don't make it too big or too small this time.
I'll try.
I feel like that was directed at Kyle. Yeah.
Directed at anybody. Nobody in particular. There's my line segment. Step 2, exactly the same as the last one. Construct a perpendicular bisector. You should be getting pretty good at that now. We've done it quite a few times. Okay, so again, once more, the steps for perpendicular bisector. Open your compass to the length of whatever your segment is. Make semicircle. Oops, mine goes into the next one. That's okay. Then you flip it. Double check your length. Make a semicircle going the other way. Ugh. Okay. Then you just connect those. And I'm gonna have to use the other edge again.
Just a little bit.
So does it not matter how long your student is, or as long as like if you can just move you use points that are farther in on it to make it when you need it? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so again, we got our 90-degree angle. All right, so again, just to review, 45, 45, 90. The relationships among those sides. Remember that the two legs would be like one unit, whatever that unit is. The hypotenuse is that times the square root of 2. So if we're using 1, well, that would just be 1 times the square root of 2, right? Okay, so our unit this time is FE, okay? So we're going to copy the length of FE with one end on the 90-degree angle, okay? So open this up here. And again, it doesn't matter if you start on the vertical or the horizontal. It does not matter. Okay, this time I'll start on the vertical. Last time I started on the horizontal. So there's one unit, right? How about I call that point E? Well, wouldn't I just have to do the exact same thing on the next one? Because look at, aren't these supposed to be the same? So if this one is one unit, this one should also be one unit. Oops, I moved mine a little bit. There we go. Oh, that's really close.
Is it bad if the line's right out?
No, of course not.
What if it's outside of it?
That's fine. You can just extend it. Mm-hmm. So then you're going to copy the length of FE again, going the other way. Then just connect those. Okay, so we have one unit here, and then by Pythagorean theorem, this should be square root 2 units. Okay. Now, this next one, it says isosceles right triangle. Well, isn't an isosceles right triangle the exact same thing as a 45, 45, 90? Right? So the steps are exactly the same. So here's your opportunity to practice this one more time. All right? So it would literally be these exact same steps. So I'm going to work through mine. You can follow the steps here to work through yours. Okay? The only difference is that we're using different letters. Okay? So right here where it says isosceles right triangle, just do it right there. Same exact steps. Notice it even says it over here. Steps are the exact same. Okay? So I will do it with you, but I'm not going to vocalize. This means I'm not going to talk.
For a second, I thought that was directed at Kyle as well.
No. I don't even know who it was. I heard someone say, what? Just means I'm not going to talk. Oh, look at mine extended. See, just got to extend it. All right, and there you have it. Okay.